Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and open up your browser and navigate to this link, which will be in the description down below. When you get here, you're going to see this tutorial, which is basically everything I'm covering in this video, except at the end, I'll show you how to actually import your project into this virtual machine. So right off the bat, go ahead and download the CS381 VM.ova, which is the instance of the virtual machine. And it's 5 gigabytes, so you want to start this off and let it run for a little while. It may take a few hours. And then next, you're going to want to go ahead and download the VMware player from this link. And when you click on that link, it's going to take you to the VMware website. And if you just scroll down a little, you'll see the blue download button, and go ahead and download that. And if you're on Linux, then you could use the gray button. And while you wait for the instance to download, you could go ahead and go to the CS381 website, or you could grab your project files from wherever they're stored. And you just want to get some projects ready to import into the virtual machine. So I'm going to go ahead and use the solution to assignment 3. And I'm going to download this As3 Spring 18.tgz. Okay, so while we wait for the virtual machine instance to finish downloading, we could go ahead and get the virtual machine player running. So just go ahead and double click that link that you downloaded. And when it opens, just go ahead and click next. Click I accept and click next. Then once you get to the custom setup part, you can select your install location, and then we don't need the enhanced keyboard driver, so just click next. We don't want to join the VM customer experience improvement, unless you want to. And then check for product updates on startup. I'm just going to deselect that one as well and click next. And then it's going to ask you for shortcuts wherever you'd like them, and click next. And then click install. And then once that finishes, just click finish. And then you'll notice on your desktop there's a shortcut for the VMware player once it's all installed. At this point, you could go ahead and delete the VMware installation launcher. Now, once the CS381 VM has finished downloading, go ahead and double click on it. And then it's going to ask you what license you want to use. Just go ahead and use the 15-day player for free. Click continue, then click finish. And then it's going to ask what storage path you want to use and what the name of the virtual machine will be. I just leave that as it is, and then I change the path if needed, and then click import. And when you click import for the first time, you may see a import failed message. So just go ahead and retry it, and it should work the second time. Okay, and when you start running the virtual machine for the first time, you'll see a prompt like this asking you for software updates. Just go ahead and click download and install. Okay, and then you can go ahead and click on the student account. And it's going to prompt you for a password. Just go ahead and type in student, all lowercase. Now that we're all signed in, we could interact with Ubuntu just as we would in the ECC. Ogre and Eclipse are all installed already, so you don't have to install anything else. If you minimize the window and then you locate your downloaded assignment folder, you could actually drag and drop it into this virtual machine. What I like to do is open up the file directory inside the virtual machine and find a path that I want to drag and drop this project into. And then you just simply drag and drop, and then it loads it into the virtual machine. And then you could unzip it just as you would. And then once the project is unzipped, then you could go ahead and add it to the Eclipse workspace. So let's go ahead and open up Eclipse at this point. And click launch. And once you launch Eclipse, you'll see that the Ogre basic tutorial is already provided and already set up and configured for you. So all you have to do is go ahead and right click and copy that folder and paste it. And let's give this a name for the same assignment that we're working on, which is assignment 3. And if I go ahead and right click on this folder and go down to properties, then you will notice that inside C++ build and settings, all the include paths are just as we set it in previous assignments, and same with the linker libraries. Let's just go ahead and close out of that, so you don't have to do anything there. Now let's go ahead and import our project into this folder we copied. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete all the stuff we don't need, which is everything except includes. And binaries will automatically delete because that's a shortcut to the debug binaries. Click OK. Now that the folder is somewhat empty, go ahead and locate your project folder and then click on it and then select all the contents. And then drag it over the root of the project folder and use the first option. Click OK. And then I have to add the resources to this workspace because they're not already here. So if I click on the resources configuration file and I scroll all the way to the bottom, it'll show that I need these external models. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. And you could actually go ahead and open up the browser inside here. And it should connect to the internet. And then go to the CS381 website. And when you're here, you can locate the meshes by going to assignment 3, PDF. And then it's this link on that PDF. And then I'm going to go ahead and download the 381.tgz and automatically open it. Now that I have it open, I'm going to extract it to the Eclipse workspace and click extract, show the files. And now our resources should work. So now we're navigating back one directory into the 381 folder, which should contain meshes, materials, programs, textures, and scripts. Meshes, materials, program, scripts, textures. And I don't have the DDG51, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that line. I'm going to save the resource configuration file. And then I need to update the entity manager. So right now we're looking for a mesh named DDG51 with all caps, but currently we only have the DDG51.mesh in lowercase form. So if we look at Home, Eclipse Workspace, 381, Meshes, we'll see a DDG51.mesh all in lowercase. And that's the file we're locating. Now I could go ahead and build the project. So you'll see that there's already a binaries because it's located whatever was in the project before when I downloaded it. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete the debug and release folders and click OK. And then you'll see that binaries go away. So now I'm just going to go ahead and right click on the project root folder and click build project and wait for that to finish. And you can see the progress in the bottom right hand corner. So when I try to build, I receive some errors. And if I look at those errors, it says that const expression needed for in-class instant initialization of static member, const float key time. So a quick fix for that, if you go into the include folder, and then this is located inside the assignment 3 header. So I'm going to click on the assignment 3 header file, and then it shows that the error is on this line. And to fix that, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the const static and then rebuild the project. Okay, and then once the build is successful, then you'll see that the binaries was built and included to the project, and then you can right click on the binaries and just run it. And you may see two options at this point. If you do the C++ container application, it may not work. It'll just give you a blank screen or a black screen. So you want to make sure you use the local C and C++ application when you run it. Then click OK. And then set your render settings and click accept. Now you can see we're running the project in a virtual machine. When you're ready to close out of the virtual machine, all you have to do is close out of your application. You could leave everything exactly how you want. Just make sure all your files are saved. And you'll see a pause button in the upper left-hand corner. Go ahead and click on that, and that will suspend the virtual machine. And it's going to say, are you sure you want to suspend the virtual machine? Suspending will preserve your environment and data for later use. So just click yes. And that's how you shut it down. Once you've finished importing the CS381 virtual machine OVA file, you can delete that from your computer because it's no longer needed. And that will save your computer 5 gigs of memory. Now, if you want to go ahead and reopen your virtual machine, all you have to do is click on the virtual or VMware workstation. When that opens up, it's going to show you the home, which gives you these options. But what you want to do is click on the CS381 virtual machine and then just hit play, and it will power on and it'll pick right back up where you left off.